Hi everyone, my name is Sierra Falk, and the three values I chose for my project were courage, compassion, and contentment. Here's a picture of my family from 2003. When one is born into a military family, they learn very quickly that family holds a heavy value over anything in the world. From adjusting when moving around to different placements to praying for our family's safety through deployments, my family has become a source of stability and affirmation in my life. My mother, father, and sister are three people that I have shared close bonds with over my lifetime, and I can honestly say they express many values that one would consider beneficial to the overall meaning of life. My father, being the provider for our family, demonstrates the value of courage. My mother, the source of nurture in our family, shows compassion. And my sister, my only lifelong friend, displays the value of contentment. I consider myself to be very lucky to have these three people provide my life with these values. Spray painting tan camouflage onto my father's assault helmets, combat boots, and other battle gear before my father was deployed to Iraq is one memory that I remember clearly to this day. Here's a picture of my father in camouflage garb that I just described. My father served in the United States Marine Corps for 22 years and completed multiple tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. During his time as a Marine, he experienced the losses of many close friends. Despite grieving over these losses, he still maintained courage and persevered through his service. One experience that still haunts him to this day was a helicopter crash that he experienced during training on Camp Lejeune Marine Corps Base. 14 men in his battalion decided to go up in a helicopter, and my father watched as those 14 men crashed down and were killed that day. My father endured the losses of his friends and fellow Marines, yet he still continued to be brave and serve deployments while still knowing the dangers of the battlefield. In addition to being a father of two very young daughters, he also proudly fought for America's freedom. Here's a more recent picture of my father and I. I've often said that if anyone were to ask me who my hero is, it would definitely be my father, for serving in the military for 22 years and serving as a very great role model to me growing up. The next value I chose for my project was that of compassion. The virtue of compassion is shown by my mother. When I cried on Father's Day as a child because my own father was overseas, my mother would hold me and read to me happy stories to clear my mind. My mother made tremendous efforts to be sure that my sister and I felt loved when we were missing our father and struggling to fit in with our new hometowns. As a child, I had a wild imagination. I vividly believed in magical creatures, and my mother, pretending to be the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy, would take the time to write letters to me, complimenting how well I behaved in my efforts in school. Actually, you can really tell how selfless my mother was, because when I went to go look for pictures for this project, I could only find pictures of myself and my sister, which shows that my mother would rather document our own happiness than document her own. My mother showed compassion through her extra efforts to make sure that my sister and I not only always felt loved, but also kept our childhood imagination alive. The last value that I chose for my project was contentment. Moving around so often, my sister was my only stable lifelong friend. Because she was older than myself, she took pride in serving as a role model for me. Growing up, I admired my sister for how easily she took at looking at the bright side of life on any awful situation. She always noted the positive effects of moving and made sure that I was content as well. My sister and I were diagnosed with severe scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine, when both of us were little. I was forced to wear a back brace all throughout elementary and middle school, which was kind of hard being a little kid already insecure with your body and then forced to wear this rough structure that stuck out of my shirts. My sister, on the other hand, also had scoliosis, but hers was more severe than mine. Her back made her look like she always had an invisible baby on her hip, so she kind of leaned more to one way. People would always pick on her and called her crooked and just made fun of her for her crooked stance. She was bullied a lot moving from school to school. Despite the mean comments that the other kids said, my sister knew that her scoliosis was just a disability, but it didn't disable anything about her. She always remained content with how she looked. She never let any of the mean insults affect her own self-image, and she always remained content and happy, knowing that her physical disability would not define her or limit her from being successful in reaching her goals. Halfway through high school, my sister had surgery for her scoliosis. For her surgery, essentially, they took metal rods and infused them into her spine so that her spine was at a 0-degree angle, which makes a straight line. Her spine was finally fixed. However, there was a lot of pain endured after the surgery. My sister had once been a cheerleader and an amazing gymnast. We used to ride horses and tumble in the backyard. However, after her surgery, she was unable to even bend over. My sister experienced entire immobility of her spine. Although now physically she appeared normal from anyone on the outside looking in, she knew she was unable to do so much as pick up something off the ground because she could not bend over. I can remember my sister saying to me after her surgery, "I may be limited and I may not be able to do all the stuff that normal people can do, but I'm happy and I'm healthy, and that's all that matters." My sister has always been the one person by my side to assure me that everything in life is going to be okay. She understands when I have my lowest of lows, and she reassures me that in the end, it's just a bad day, but not a bad life. My sister has served as a source of inspiration for me in that she has always remained positive in her outlook on life. I'm happy to say that we still remain best friends to this day. And the most recent picture is in this middle. This was from this summer that we took on a vacation to New York. As you can see, my sister's spine is straight and there's a wide smile on her face, which demonstrates that her virtue is definitely contentment. Without my mother, my father, and my sister, I do not believe I would be the well-rounded person that I am today. I believe these three people have inspired my own compassion, courage, and contentment that I strive to incorporate into my overall lifestyle. These people have taught me to care for others, to be brave in any situation, and to seek a positive perspective on life. In addition, their own experiences have helped shape my views when it comes to seeking a further meaning from my life. My father has shown me that sometimes life involves becoming something bigger than yourself. His years in the military showed me that because he remained brave during such dangerous and scary situations, that I can have courage with any obstacle thrown into my path. My mother has shown me how to put others before yourself. I would have never known how to love and show love if it were not for all of the compassion that my mother has showed me throughout the years. Because of her, I cannot wait to show my own future children the virtue of compassion. Lastly, my sister has shown me how to deal with anything that life throws at you. No matter what happens, we are all so lucky to be alive. I am so glad that my sister taught me how to count my blessings and have contentment with all that I have been given in my life. I believe that learning these values of courage, compassion, and contentment has caused me to grow relationships and further my own personal goals, making me an overall happier human being. These three virtues of compassion, courage, and contentment have helped shape me into the adult that I am today and have helped contribute to my overall meaning of